Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Amen. Second, make sure that you do not take my son back there. Look at verse 1 in chapter 24. Abram was now old and well advanced in years, and the Lord had blessed him in every way. This verse describes Abram's later life. He had fought the spiritual fight of putting his trust in God and obeying God's command absolutely. He was like a powerful general who set a good example for all believers to follow. Now, after going through all these challenges and trials of life by faith in God, Abram was enjoying a very peaceful and fulfilling life with God's blessing in every aspect of his life. Life in God was indeed sweet and fulfilling. But Abram had one more important mission to take care of. It was to find a wife for Isaac, his son, and establish his family. Sarah was gone, and he knew that anytime he too would be gone. So before his departure, he wanted to establish Isaac's family. Look at verses 2 through 4. One day, Abram called one of his servants and had him swear by God that he would not get a wife for Isaac from the Canaanites, but go to Haran and get a wife for him there. It was his only son's marriage matter. It was such an important matter, but amazingly, he entrusted this matter into the hand of his servant. Here, you have seen your fathers, right? Then, have you ever seen your fathers entrusting the matter of his sons or daughters into the hands of some other people? No way, really. No way. But that's what Abram did. It was no ordinary son's marriage, but the God's covenant person's marriage. Usually no father would do so. Even if they may let their reliable friends or faithful employees take care of their business. But marriage matter, or their sons or daughters' marriage matter, no way. No one would do so. But amazingly, Abram put his son's marriage matter into his servant's hands. So the question is, how could he do that? He could do so because he believed that God would go ahead of him and prepare a wife for Isaac. In his eyes, eventually it was God who would choose a girl for Isaac and establish his family. That was his belief. For God's covenant person, God himself takes care of his or her marriage matter because he wants to establish God's covenant family. Then whether Abraham himself would go and look for a wife for Isaac, or his servant would go and do the job, it was not so important because eventually it was God who would do the job. That's why Abraham entrusts this matter in the hands of his servant. But there was one thing his servant must remember in finding a wife for Isaac. That was, he should not take a wife for Isaac from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom he was living, but go to Abraham's relatives in Haran and look for a girl there. Abraham considered it a very serious and important matter that he had his servant swear an oath by the name of the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of the earth. Why? Of course, because he understood that this matter was very important. He understood that Isaac's future spiritual wife, the future wife would be, Isaac's future spiritual life would be affected by his marriage partner greatly. Isaac was the covenant son who would carry God's covenant to the next generation. So his wife should also be God's covenant person, so that they would be one team, one flesh, with the same desire and hope. When Abraham considered this in Isaac's marriage, then the Canaanite women were absolutely out of option. Of course, in Canaan, there must have been many beautiful and intelligent ladies. Some of them might have possessed charming character also. But fundamentally, they had different value system, different hope, different lifestyle, that none of them could be one with Isaac. None of them could be a suitable helper for Isaac to carry God's covenant blessing. So he told his servant to go to Haran, his own people, and get a wife for him from his relatives. Who should be our marriage partner? Who should be your marriage partner? This is a very important question. Why? Your entire life will be affected. This question is actually the reflection of the purpose of our marriage. Why do we marry? If it is for our own pleasures, if we want to please ourselves, then like the believers in the time of Noah, we would marry anyone we choose. If it is to solve our financial needs, then we would marry a person with some money. Fundamentally, why should we marry? And what is, by the way, marriage? What is marriage? In Genesis chapter 2, we see God establishing marriage between Adam and Eve. And his purpose in creating marriage was so that husband and wife together might serve God's mission more effectively. So he described the woman as a helper, suitable. So one person Adam was serving God's work, and then there should be a helper, so that together, with the help of the co-worker, Adam would serve God's work more effectively. That's what marriage is about. That's God's design. And when established according to God's design, people would Adam and Eve could enjoy a delightful life in the marriage relationship. But in Noah's time, the believers left God out of their marriage, and they married anyone they chose. Maybe at the time their excuse was, after marrying, I will help her believe in God. But it never worked. It never works. Instead, it worked the opposite way. They lost faith and did not function as the salt of the earth at all. As a result, the whole world was corrupt, and they invited God's judgment. Marriage affects one's entire life. Some people, because of their wrong marriage, live in pain and sorrow all the days of their life. Their families are broken and their children are scattered. To them, marriage is the source of sheer torture, argument, disappointment, and regret. But some other people, because of their marriage, grow to be great men and women of God. To them, marriage is the spring fountain of happiness and delight. When Abraham was concerned about his son's future, he could not have him marry anyone. His marriage partner should be the one whom Isaac could form a spiritual unity with, so that Isaac and his wife together might serve God's purpose effectively. One proud young man married a foxy woman, saying that through this marriage, she would have a chance to come to heaven. But after marriage, her situation became worse. And what about his situation? I don't want to talk about it. There are many people who are willing to give everything to God, saying, I will give God everything. I'm ready to die. But please, this marriage matter, don't bother me. I will marry in my way. But if we understand the importance of our marriage, then what? We realize that it must be established in God, by God, and for God. Only then it can withstand all kinds of challenges in life, such as financial matter, or health matter, or character differences. It can withstand. Our marriage partner should be the one who can form a spiritual unity with us in serving God's mission, so that through our marriage, God's purpose can advance in our life effectively. Many young girls say are very enticed by some handsome looking boys. But I said to them, after, let's say you marry him, then the problem is he's handsome in the eyes of all those young girls around him. Then she was shocked. That's not good at all, really. Not good. So that should not be the main point, really. Then what about marriage? The finance. Maybe this person can earn a lot of money, but what if he's only focused on money all the way? You should not marry that kind of boy either. Instead, what? The one who has absolute faith in God, who loves God, who loves God and who serves God wholeheartedly. Such person has pure heart. Best marriage candidate, right? God will bless you. Look at verses 6 through 8. 6 through 8. Let's read these verses together. Make sure that you do not take my son back there, Abraham said. The Lord, the God of heaven, who brought me out of my father's household and my native land, and who spoke to me and promised me on oath, saying, to your offspring I will give this land. He will send his angel before you, so that you can get a wife for my son from there. If the woman is unwilling to come back with you, then you will be released from this oath of mine. Only do not take my son back there. Abraham said, if the woman is unwilling to come back with you, then you will be released from this oath of mine. Only do not take my son back there. Abraham had a clear idea about what kind of woman should be Isaac's wife. Isaac's wife should be such a woman who could leave her country, her people, and her father's household to marry Isaac, even though she had never met him. Wow! Who could do that? What a daring vision Abraham had for his son's wife. From Haran to Hebron, it was about 600 miles, 20 days journey in those days. On earth, what woman could say yes and leave her country, her family, and travel 600 miles to marry a man she had never met? How could she even trust the old servant's story that sounded too fishy? There is a great man, rich man. If you follow me, you will marry him and your life will be wonderful. How does that sound? Maybe like human trafficking. Such a woman must be very rare. But no matter what, Abraham wanted that kind of woman to be his son's wife. If any woman was not willing to come, if anyone say, but what if? But if any woman said, let me talk to my mom, then simply in Abraham's eyes, that person was not for Isaac. Humanly, it was impossible. But Abraham said to his servant, the Lord will send his angel before you so that you can get a wife for my son from there. He believed that even though it was a mission impossible, by God's help, it would be accomplished. Only a girl who was led and inspired by God would say, yes, I will go. Abraham was looking for such a lady who was inspired by God, and when God's inspiration came, would be bold, saying, yes, I will go. Abraham was looking for such a girl. Abraham did not talk about any other conditions such as wealth, or good family background, or college degree, at least a bachelor's degree or master's degree, or character, or outward appearance. But this one single thing, when God's inspiration came, she would say, I will go. She would be willing to marry someone she had never met before, only because of God. That kind of woman Abraham was looking for. The only preference he had for Isaac's marriage partner was this absolute faith in God. That when inspired by God, she could leave everything behind, including her own family, come to a foreign land and marry Isaac, and even without seeing him once. Wow. Such a bold faith Abraham had. May all of our young brothers be so powerful and passionate like Abraham, saying, if any lady is not willing to marry by faith, then she's not for me. Brothers, ready? All the brothers shout this together. If any lady is not willing to marry by faith, she's not for me. Okay, 1, 2, 3. If any lady is not willing to marry by faith, she's not for me. Amen. God will bless you greatly.